Toronzo Cannon, born 1968, February 14th at 12:52 in the morning. I just made it. Born south side of Chicago, over on 49th in Michigan. Actually 4858, and then we moved across the street to 49th in Michigan. There was a place called Teresa's Lounge that I used to look over the banister when my brother and sister, we would go down to an ice cream place down the street, and it was a half a block down the way. And I knew my uncles hung out there, so I would go kind of like look over the banister to see if I could see them and things like that. Two of my uncles, Richard Cannon and Eugene Cannon, they would go down, they would frequent Teresa's. One of my uncles, what we call Pee Wee, he was kind of like a ladies' man, you know, if I could say that. He almost got killed down there. Scoring woman thing, but it's cool. And another one of my uncles, Richard Cannon, he would like help Teresa's out if she needed something. He was kind of like an all-around guy. You know, he'll fix stuff for her, things like that. But from what I understand, that was the place to be in the 60s and the 70s, you know, because Muddy, Buddy down there, Earl Hooker, a lot of cats would go down there, you know. And but I was too young to get in. But you hear all these fascinating stories at family reunions and stuff like that, you know. So I grew up around the blues, but I didn't know it until later, until I started playing guitar. Actually, I was 22, 23 in that area. I couldn't play basketball anymore, so I picked up the guitar, you know. And at first I wanted to play reggae music, you know, because it was like that was cool in the, you know, the 90s. And I was like, oh, very cool. But every jam I go to was a blues jam. So, you know, I learned the blues, and I grew up around blues, listening to my grandfather, you know, listening to Al Green and Muddy Waters and Little Walter, things like that, when company came over, when Aunt Nettie and AC and his brothers and sisters came over. And I'll be the little kid behind the beads, because it was just early 70s. We had beads coming from the living room to the hallway, you know. And we couldn't go on the other side of those beads, you know, as kids, you know, because that's where the grown folks is having fun up there, whatever. So, but when I start going to the jams, things start coming back where it's like, oh yeah, I know this song, I heard this song, da-da-da. And then Teresa's, and, you know, think about Teresa, my uncles and all that stuff. So it was in me, it was just, I guess, lying dormant. My sister bought me my first guitar because she was playing piano, so she was excited to buy anybody's instrument. I took maybe like 3 lessons, and the guy was trying to teach me some like country sounding chords. And I said, well, how did Muddy Waters and all those cats learn, you know? And I just figured trial and error. So I didn't want her to lose her money, so I did the 4 lessons, and which the last one was just questions, basically. And I took the 4 lessons, and I just started trial and error. Every time I got home from work, I'll listen to music and try to copy the chords. I go out to jams and look at people's fingers. Me being left-handed, it looks like a mirror. So I would kind of look at them, write it down. I would secretly record, you know, go home and, you know, Buddy Guys, blues, etc. Other little jams, and winners on the north side. Just kind of just go around and look at people for a couple of years. Tommy McCracken gave me my first gig at the Taste of Chicago, which I still have the videotape. I've never played in front of that many people. And let's put it this way, no disrespect, I paid my dues because I didn't know you can get paid more at the Taste of Chicago than anywhere else. But he gave me my first gig, and I was very grateful for that. And at that time, I was just started working CTA, driving a bus. The first dollar he ever gave me, I got it in my room on the wall. So that was like 98 when I had my first professional gig, you know. So he didn't pay me $1, it was more than $1, but you know. It was cool to be a sideman, but I figured I had enough, you know, whatever, to hold a crowd's attention, because I was getting some attention. It was kind of cool when people would clap for you and all that stuff. So I found a couple of guys at the jam, a guy named Yoshi, Goji, and Jack. I had 2 Japanese cats and a white cat on drums. And we would go around, and, you know, we were just as hungry, and we just wanted to play, you know. And we played Eddie Clearwater's place. We were doing good in Chicago, the House of Blues Hotel. And we were getting some, you know, some nice gigs, you know. I found out you don't have to start out playing on a Tuesday and Wednesday, you know, where everyone else was saying, oh, you're a Tuesday gig, you know. But But we started making some advancements and everything. And one cat moved back to Japan, and the drummer, he had to work, you know what I mean? Because I was working the bus and still doing the music on the weekends. I work in some very bad neighborhoods. I work on the west side, used to work on the south side, and it makes you appreciate what you have. It's given me more than 15 muses or whatever for a song, 15, I mean, I write songs sometimes at stoplights when I got an idea. I always have a piece of paper and a pen in my pocket, and I'm always writing, if I have an idea, and I'll try to expand on it when I get home. You hear hardships, you see hardships. I mean, I've been through some things myself, but not as hard as I see what's around me. When you come to Chicago, so I love Chicago blues. I'm a Chicago blues man, not a blues man that just lives in Chicago. We're standing as musicians and blues men and women. We're standing on the shoulders of Coco Taylor, Lonnie Brooks, you know what I mean, John Lee Hooker, Earl Hooker, I'm sorry. We stand on the shoulders of the giants, like, Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and all those cats, Big Mama Thornton, the list go on. So when you come to these clubs, you feel relaxed, unloosen your tie. I tell cats, sometimes they come in a business suit, hey man, loosen your tie up. You finish what you're doing at your seminar or whatever, loosen your tie up. What you still dressed up for, Relax, talk to people, it's okay. It's Chicago.